The first sound of the night was the grandfather clock chiming midnight. Its reverberations were still echoing in the old house when the second sound occurred. It was the soft thud of something falling or someone falling. Elizabeth lay perfectly still in bed, her eyes tightly shut. Her breathing was slow and shallow. Beside her, husband Joseph snored softly. For a moment, Elizabeth considered waking him. But no, whatever that sound was, it hadn't disturbed him. So she decided to pretend she, too, had been fast asleep. A few minutes passed. The only sound, the steady tick-tock of the clock. There was a crash, something heavy hitting the floor. Elizabeth finally opened her eyes, but kept very still. Whatever had made that noise wasn't moving about the house. It was right outside their bedroom. She strained to listen. Silence. Then Joseph stirred beside her. He yawned, stretched, and then asked, "Did you hear something?" "Just the clock," Elizabeth whispered. "I think it needs winding again," she added, hoping she sounded convincing. But Joseph wasn't convinced. "Yeah, probably," he said, his voice betraying his unease. "Weird things happen at this old house," he added, trying to sound lighthearted. "Yeah," Elizabeth whispered, her fingers digging into the mattress. And then came the fourth sound of the night, a low thud, followed by footsteps near their bedroom. Elizabeth held her breath. She could feel her heart hammering against her ribs. Joseph tensed beside her. The doorknob turned. "Probably just me," Joseph said, reaching out to switch on the bedside lamp. The silhouette of a man filled the doorway. Both Elizabeth and Joseph gasped. "Who are you?" Joseph asked. The man didn't answer. He just stood there, backlit by the hallway light, his face in shadow. Slowly, he began to walk towards the bed. Elizabeth screamed and threw herself under the covers. The man came closer. She could see his face now. He was young, maybe early 20s, his eyes wide and crazed. But there was something wrong, horribly wrong. His eyes were vacant, devoid of any emotion, like a doll's eyes. Elizabeth buried her face in the pillow. She could hear Joseph shouting at the man, telling him to get away. The man stopped by the bedside, looked down at Joseph, and then slowly reached out a hand. Before anyone could react, he brought his hand down hard, connecting with the bridge of Joseph's nose. Blood gushed down his face. Elizabeth cried out, but Joseph just stared at the man, his eyes wide with disbelief. The man looked at him for a moment longer, and then with an eerie calm, he reached out again, this time bringing his other hand down on Joseph's face. And then he was gone, vanishing into the darkness as quickly as he'd appeared. Elizabeth scrambled out of bed, rushing to her husband's side. He was slumped against the headboard, blood staining his shirt. "Joseph, talk to me," she said, her voice shaking, but he didn't respond. His eyes were fixed on the spot where the man had been standing. She felt for a pulse, turned his head. He was still breathing. But when she looked at his face, she saw that he was staring straight ahead, his eyes unseeing, vacant, just like the man's eyes. Then the most terrifying thought struck her. What if this was just the beginning?